Good afternoon. I'm here to talk to you about a very important fact of life: diabetes. Diabetes is a major health issue in America. The American Diabetes Association states that 50% of Americans will be affected by diabetes sometime in their lifetime. Now, there are two types of diabetes. The first type of diabetes is called type 1. It's when the body fights itself. The immune system is triggered by a virus, a bacteria, an allergy. Really, the doctors don't know 100% why, but the immune system turns and attacks insulin producing cells. And what happens with that is as you take in sugars, your body produces insulin, or your pancreas produces insulin, and it makes a nice balance in your body. And what happens is, as the immune system is attacking those beta cells, of course, the body's going to have to try to take up with itself, and it really can't. So most of these people actually can die within the first week or two. The body is not able to fight or to continue taking care of itself. And there's really, the symptoms of it are really of, you just drink a lot and you pee a lot. And like I said, there's really no cure for it. But once they get to the doctor and they start to have the doctor take a look at themselves, they usually find out with their questionnaire saying, have you been drinking a lot? Have you been peeing a lot? And they kind of usually say, well, yes, I have. But that one you really can't prevent, so I'm not going to talk about that one. Type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes actually affects most Americans. For one, because we're overweight. For two, because it actually hits Hispanics and blacks mostly. What happens is, you have the same symptoms. You drink a lot and you pee a lot. The pancreas, like I was saying before, the pancreas produces cells, and because it senses the sugars in the body, so it continues to produce it. Well, what happens is that the cells actually start to resist the insulin that the body's producing because of the sugar intake. And as the cells are resisting the insulin, the other cells have to work harder, and the body has to produce more insulin for it to make these cells react. And if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't work out, you don't eat right, and you just continuously stay overweight, what happens is that eventually you're damaging your organs, and you can go blind. It damages your nerves, and like I said, it damages your kidneys. Now, whenever I say it causes blindness and all that other stuff, there's a funny story that I've got. One of my good friends just recently, very big guy. Of course, his name is Big Mike. He's about 6'3", and last time I saw him was probably about a year and a half ago, and he was a big monster of a man. He actually makes me look very small, and he wasn't taking care of himself. He knew he had issues. He just never went to the doctor, and he works night shift. He said he'd been drinking a lot and peeing a lot, and of course, after the fact, everybody can be a Monday morning quarterback. But he looked back, and what happened is that he was feeling real bad during the day. At night. He was feeling real bad that night, and he was working his 12-hour shift, and he forced himself to make it through the nights. He got home, he took a nap, and when he woke up, and he couldn't see more than 5 feet from his face. He's never worn glasses or contacts, but everything hit him immediately, super fast. Of course, he got scared. He called his mother. His mother came and picked him up and took him to the hospital, and they told him that he's lucky he's still alive. He could have gone into a diabetic coma. And with those diabetic comas, sometimes they can regulate your body and bring all your insulin back into your body and bring your sugar down. But and another thing is that you can also have nerve ending damage. Now, nerve ending damage is a little bit different. You do your fingertips, but for males it also affects the penis. And one of the things that they tell 14, 15, 16-year-old males that don't want to take care of themselves, because at that age, being a guy, 14, 15, 16 years old, you're unstoppable. You don't need anybody to tell you what you can and can't do, and you sure don't want to be restricted to what you eat, having to count your carbs, and having to pump insulin into your body to help your body regulate itself. and you don't want to be told to do anything. Well, what happens is that your nerve endings start to get damaged, and when nerve endings get damaged, they don't get fixed. So it can actually affect you whenever you want to have sex, or, you know, well, that's what happens to people who don't take care of themselves readily. Now, there's a few eating tips that you can take into effect to help keep your body under control. Like I said, me, myself, being Hispanic, being a male, and being a heavy-set guy, I've always been borderline. Now, it also comes down from your parents. It is also passed down, the type 2 diabetes is. And this is one of the things: high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. All this stuff is very, very important, and you really don't know what's going on in your body until something bad happens. Of course, like my buddy, he woke up and he couldn't see, and the 16-year-old eventually gets to where he can't have sex with his beautiful wife. So all these things actually come to fruition sooner or later. But ways you can take care of yourself: eat veggies and fruits. Now, you have to make sure that you don't eat like real starchy veggies. You want to eat spinach, carrots, broccolis, and green beans. Whole grains, and if you're a big pasta person, you can always ask for whole wheat pasta. We've done it over at Olive Garden. You can ask for wheat, and they'll get you wheat, no big deal. Fish 2 to 3 times a day. It's going to help a lot with all that. Personally, I'm a meat eater, so of course I had to find a way to be able to eat meat. But you want to eat lean meats. Anything with the word loin in it. Pork loins, tenderloins, those type of meats are better for you. Non-fat dairy products are always good, and always cook with liquid oils, the ones that you can actually pour out of a bottle. You don't want to cook with any lard or any of the margarine or butter, things like that, because that actually has saturated and trans fats in it. Will actually mess you up. One of the things that we found here in this house is can't believe it's not butter, but it comes in a spray bottle, so it's 100% liquid. And if you look at the back of the bottle, it's all has zeros all the way down. It doesn't have any trans fats, doesn't have any saturated fats. It's actually a very good product, and it really, you can't believe it's not butter. It actually tastes like it. And you want to always watch your portions, because even though you're eating healthy things, you can still have too much of them, and it's going to put you in the overweight category, which continues the process. Now, there's always treatment and care. For type 2 diabetes, you can actually beat it to where your levels aren't so dramatic. Now, what happens whenever you get to a certain point and your body just can't create enough insulin, because once those cells die, they don't come back. What happens is that you have to count your carbs and how many carbs you have. There's a chart, and you have to do a calculation on how much insulin you actually inject into yourself. Now, there's insulin pumps that keep things regulated also, but you also have to stay within a certain parameter. And whenever you're a new diabetic, they actually give you, okay, you can eat this amount of food, this much, and this is how much insulin you take, until you get used to things and you can actually start counting and calculating yourself. But you always want to monitor your glucose. This one here, we have this one around the house. Check myself maybe once a month or so. When you're diabetic, you have to do this several times a day, and it's not fun. It actually has this one here is actually attached, but usually it's a little pin, and you stick yourself with it, make yourself bleed, and it makes me flinch every single time. Make the blood come out, turn the meter on, and it has a little strip that you put in there, which are not cheap. And you put your finger on it, and it takes the blood, and it figures out how much sugar you have in your blood. Now, all these different meters, there's 1,000 different meters. The doctor will help you figure out which one's best for you. Hopefully you don't need it. It also comes with a fancy little carrying case and keep things kind of discreet. And you always want to keep a log of your sugars. Every time you check yourself, you want to keep a log of where your numbers are at, because sometimes you can keep track and everybody forgets. But sometimes you can keep track and figure out what you ate, what didn't, what's working, what's not working. Well, I did this today. I skipped breakfast that day, or whatever it be. And then of course exercise. You want to create exercise, that way you actually lose weight, and that's actually going to help you in the long run. And then of course your medications. The medications for diabetes is insulin, and like I was stating before, you have to inject yourself. You have to. It's not fun, and a lot of people that actually do this, they stop doing it, not because they don't care, but they stop doing it because it's such a hassle, and you get so tired of it. And everybody, they have sore fingertips, and it's super sensitive. But all in all, this is a major important fact of life. You have to take care of yourself. And thank you very much.